Okay. Look at me. Say cheese. Cheese. Is this thing on? I think so.
Hey guys, what's up? What the fuck is up?
Hey girl, hi.
You wanna get cuddly?
Yeah, let's do the girl talk. Hi.
Hey. It's like too much
Too much of what?
on you. It needs to be more on me.
Okay, I don't look super big, right?
No.
Okay.
You always gotta do yourself. You just called yourself a gorilla and now, like, come on, stop.
Okay, but did you not see my nostrils in the beginning? Sorry, not the piojos.
Don't jump them over here.
I'm like,
Sorry.
I
Okay.
love us. Yeah?
Yeah.
You want a kiss?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Cheers.
Hey girl, hey.
Hey guys, what's up?
Welcome back to our second episode of our sister series. We really hope you guys did enjoy the first one. It was like very just put up in the car and very real and raw. But today we are at my sister's house filming.
But the first, not my hand. Yes, you guys, my hand is still broken. It still looks real nasty, so don't mind that. But last episode was obviously the first episode, and it lands on a Friday for my channel, and then every other Saturday for her channel. So we do post every other day. So the way our schedules is, it's gonna be pretty much twice a month on Fridays for me, and then twice a month on Saturdays for her. But you guys will be getting a video every single week from us. So
Yes.
stay tuned.
So make sure to follow her channel. I'll leave everything down below. And then obviously if you guys are here already, subscribe to mine. We'll have, like she said, 1 week her channel, 1 week my channel. All different topics, all the vibes, all the girl talk and everything, girls. So if you're here for the tea, let us know. Not to let us know.
But also, you guys, please, not the please. At least I ask you nicely.
About to shit myself. Vibes.
The coffee's giving us more anxiety, and like the margaritas was like chilling us out. Whatever. What?
What? Why do I feel super high in the vibes? You do.
Oh my god, stop breathing.
Okay. Shut your fucking mouth.
You guys, this is actually us all the fucking time. Anybody who knows us or hangs out with us on the regular knows that we're so fucking annoying, and we just laugh at the dumbest shit ever.
Hey, yeah. Are you ready? Are you doing it too?
Yeah. Please let us know what you guys want to watch or what you guys want us to talk about, because like we mentioned before, we have so much good juicy tea, a lot of childhood memories, and I don't think we've ever talked about it, even like on my channel, like all the craziness that we've gone through,
This
good
is like,
and bad.
Yeah, no, this is like something that we've never spoke about, like, ever.
Yeah, and we did talk to our mom already to like make sure she was like okay with
And
just
our
talking
siblings.
about that. Yeah, because obviously we went through it, but it had like a huge part of like my mom and her parenting at the time, which is night and day. We'll get into all of that. But yeah, let us know what you guys want us to talk about or what you guys want to see from both of us. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about something real juicy. Now, fun to talk about and like laugh about. But before, girl, it was a different story.
Yeah, so growing up, I feel like me and her have always like, our lives have always aligned together. We were always like together at the times where we needed each other most, and I feel like that's the most important part on why we're like so close now. But growing up, we didn't have the best childhood like at all whatsoever. I know a lot of people do have it really bad, but if y'all know about like a horrific stepdad, stepmom, like literally evil, what is that called? Okay, like the Cinderella story, how like the stepmom or the stepmother had like their kid like treated like shit. That was us. Like
To the max.
Backstory: after my mom and my dad got a divorce.
We're gonna give you an idea just like of the time frame and how old we were. I think it was like in 2002. I was like 5 and you were like 3.
I was 2.
Oh,
When
then I
they-
was like 4 pushing 5.
Yeah. But when my mom and, let's give him a name. Monster.
Mitch.
Oh, like bitch. Mitch. Okay, so we're gonna give him a codename so that way nothing is disclosed. So his name in this story is gonna be Mitch.
Just a little backstory. It rhymes with bitch, and his first name in real life starts with the letter M, so that's why.
So
it's
if you
Mitch.
could put 2 and 2 together, then you know who we're talking about. I don't remember a lot of like their first years of being together. I think I only remember a lot of the bad stuff that we went through as like children. Just because when they first got together, I felt like everyone, like it was good, no?
I think he was trying to portray himself as like a picture perfect guy, and he was trying to win my mom over because he fell in love with her way too fast.
Keep in mind, at this point, he had 3 boys, my mom had 3 girls, so they would literally call us the Brady Bunch. Like anywhere we went, like he had his boys and my mom had her girls. When my mom first got together, Cynthia wasn't really like in the picture as much, just because she was like really grown.
Yeah, so in the very beginning, I do want to mention my mom did have my sister with us, so she was with us for a couple months, but my sister had to do everything. She was getting us ready for school. She was doing like the most for us. She was pretty much like our mom at the time. And my sister got really fed up, and she was just like, okay, I'm literally like a kid. I should not be doing any of this. So she went to obviously go tell my dad, and that's when she went to like go live with my dad, and that's how that started. Cynthia was to the age where she just wanted no part of like my mom. School. Yeah, she wanted like no part of what my mom was doing. She was very much like on my dad's side by all means. You know, we eventually went to that.
Yeah.
Or unfortunately, me and my sister were way too young to even make a decision or like even think about what we wanted to do.
But I think in the back of our head, we've always wanted, like at that age when Cynthia had left and like we were actually experiencing Mitch be this way, we always kept it in the back of our head, like, oh, when we turn this certain age, we can finally make the decision. Or like, and I know like I was always really scared as a child because we knew that Cynthia left at a specific age, and we were always told like, once you guys are this age, you guys can leave.
So right when my mom and Mitch got together, Cynthia literally moved out within like months, right?
Yeah, so as soon as she left, I was too young to really understand what was going on. I just knew like my parents broke up and like my mom was already dating Mitch. So as soon as we got into like Mitch is funny, huh? As soon as they like got like super serious and like they got married and stuff, I think that's when he really started to show his true colors. And like most of the time,
a monster.
Yeah, most of the time when they first got married, like those first years, he would do it behind my mom's back. So my mom thought he was like this picture perfect guy. And then me and my sister were like trying to tell my mom like, hey, like this is what he's doing, like this, that, and the third. And she was kind of like blow it off and like shrug off her shoulders.
Just so the story makes a little more sense, we are going to give you guys a little backstory and a little bit of details, not go like crazy into detail, because obviously, like we said, that's our mom's business. And even though she's okay with us like talking about it now, I do want to mention that my mom was not right in the head while she was with Mitch. Like this is where her mental health went like severely low, and she was really depressed, obviously because of what happened like with my dad, and you know, her whole marriage obviously ending and just the way things happened. So my mom was not on the right path at all. I'm not trying to vouch for her and say anything that she did was okay, but obviously her marriage and the divorce played a huge role into why my mom became this person and why she took the route that she did.
But I also feel like at that time that she was also going through all of this, meeting Mitch, he was also like the type of person who he like showed my mom different things.
So he was not a good influence to my mom at all. Like he showed her stuff and, you know, did stuff with her that she never did before. Like he was just taking her down the wrong path, and it unfortunately led to her doing it for like 10 years. And I'm gonna say, you guys, yes, she was on drugs. She was not all there. She was not a good mom. She can even admit this now, and the only reason why we're talking about this is because we're all very comfortable and open with it. But at the time, it was definitely a whole different story. Now we're all healed from it, and my mom's a whole different person. She's an amazing mom, like to us,
grandma,
and freaking grandma. Like it's just crazy to see my mom transform and become this beautiful person now.
We've always wanted to talk about these certain things, but it is obviously her life and something she went through, and no, she's not proud of it, but also like she healed, she grew, she's like a whole different person. So
I'm actually really proud of her because she's grown and like became a different person. We got to experience, me and her got to experience like
the worst of the worst, but now we're experiencing like the best of the best.
Yeah, so that's why we're open and able to talk about it, because years ago it was not like this, girl. It was really crazy. There's gonna be so many different stories. Like even in this video, we're not even gonna probably discuss 10% of the things that we experienced or gone through. But we're just gonna get into a few juicy story times or a few things that happened, and I'm kind of excited because some things are low-key like funny to talk about now, even though it wasn't funny like at the time, you know.
Yeah, so these are all of the little stories that we have about Mitch, which was our evil stepdad that thankfully we haven't seen in multiple years.
Yeah, and thank God that he's no longer in the picture, and thank God. It's crazy that we did go through this, but I'm glad that we went through it together.
Yeah, like I was saying, like I literally cannot even imagine if I were to have to deal with that alone. That would have been the worst fucking thing ever. Like having each other go through all of these things while we were living with Mitch, like
crazy.
Super freaking crazy. Okay, so they did have multiple different apartments before we got into like an actual house. And I don't remember a lot of the things that happened while we were living at these apartments. I think we were too small to even like know what was going on at the time. But I remember our first house that we moved in with him was an up and downstairs house. And if you guys don't know the layout of it, it's like as soon as you walk in, there's stairs to go downstairs and then there's stairs to go upstairs. So upstairs is where you have the kitchen, a living room, a couple room and 2 rooms. Yes. And then downstairs was just like a little walkway, a bathroom,
a closet, and the laundry room.
A closet, laundry room, and 2 other rooms. There was a back door also downstairs that led obviously to the backyard. There was 2 ways of entry through the downstairs. So there was one in one of the biggest bedrooms that were downstairs, and then there was just one in like the hallway. Okay, so just to give you guys a idea of where our rooms were, we were the downstairs 2 rooms. Karina obviously had the bigger room, which had the back door to the backyard, and I had the one right next to her. And then upstairs, as soon as you walk up the stairs, that was my little brother's room, and then the other boys' room, because they weren't there most of the time. We spent a lot of time with them in that house and with Mitch and my mom, because my mom had full custody of us, and then he only had his kids on the weekends or every other weekend. And then my mom and Mitch had obviously the master bedroom. So it was mostly me and Karina the whole time. So we had a lot of responsibility within the house, like all of our laundry. And keep in mind, she's
I want to say at this time I was like
10
and you were 8.
Yeah. So we had to do all of our laundry. We had to do the dishes. We had a bunch of chores, like very like keeping up with the house vibes.
We had to feed ourselves like almost every single day.
Yeah, and I remember like there was like times where we would have to come home. Okay, so she would get home before me, and she would like wait. She would wait for me to get home so that way like I can scrounge up food for us. And she'd be like, sis, like, I don't know what we're going to eat today. But I would literally, like, dig through that pantry and be like, okay, like, let's make nachos, or let's make, like, chili beans with, like, chips or something. Like, with bread, yeah. Like, I would always come up with food to make for the both of us, because they never had food set up for us. They never had, like, TV dinners or like something like that.
They never made sure we were fine. Like they just worked and like worried about themselves. And it kind of sucks like to even think about like our mom in that state of mind, but that's just what we lived. And at this time, like she said, she would come home after me, so I would wait like the hour or 2 until she got home.
Yeah.
And then we would, so since our rooms were downstairs, we would literally eat and go back downstairs. Like we were never allowed upstairs, not even in the living room. Like I remember very distinctively, like we were only upstairs for like Super Bowl one time, and like
dude, why do I remember? That's the only memory that I have is like Super Bowl.
Yeah, but other than that, like we always had to stay downstairs. And what was so crazy is that downstairs in my room, since I had the bigger room, I genuinely believe that was supposed to be like a master bedroom or something, because I think my room was like bigger than theirs, but they chose to be upstairs because the kitchen was there, and then his kids didn't go very often, so they would kind of be like alone up there. And then we were just downstairs by ourselves, because if me and you were upstairs, obviously we'd be bugging them and we'd be like right next to them. So they purposely got that house to where we can like be isolated downstairs, and they had like their own room, though it wasn't like the master bedroom.
So I would always like figure out what we were gonna eat and stuff. And I remember like every time we would come home from school, our chore was the dishes, but it was like piles and piles and piles of dishes. We had to do everyone's dishes. It wasn't just like take care of your own stuff, clean your own stuff. It was like everyone's dishes like piled up on the sink and then all on the counter. So that's just like something that we always had to do, even like our laundry and everything like that also. But one of the things that I do remember is I would always want to sleep with my sister. I didn't feel like
comfortable.
I didn't feel like that house was my home. I had a bed, I had a dresser, I had a TV in my room, but I just never felt safe. It was never like, it was so scary to be a little girl and have like a fucking huge window in my room and have like trees blowing, or when it was windy at night, like I was always really scared, and I was always really scared of the dark as well.
And not just that, knowing that like our stepdad at this point, they were already together for a few years. So this man already hated like me and my sister's guts, and we knew that. He was always like rude to us, and like would always make comments or like joke about like us or our dad, and just try to be very like malicious on the low to like make it funny or cover it up with a joke.
But nothing was funny.
But nothing was funny. And he always was like that. So me and my sister already felt very unsafe. So like naturally we just wanted to sleep together. We always wanted to be together. And this is like where the craziness started, huh?
Yeah, and that always bothered him. It always bothered him, the fact that
we had each other
and that we wanted to be with each other. So he like made it a thing and like kind of brainwashed my mom in a way to be like, they have their own rooms and my kids don't. Even though you had your kids every other freaking weekend, your kids don't need their own fucking room.
They were there 4 days out of the month. Me and my sister were there Monday through Friday, suffering. And honestly, my dad had us every other weekend.
So basically, sometimes the weekends that the boys were there, we weren't.
Yeah.
So I remember he made it like a rule for us to not sleep together. He made it like a thing, and it would piss him off every time like we would wake up and I would be in my sister's room. He literally hated it. So I remember this.
Sorry to cut you off, but it was so weird to the point where we couldn't even eat dinner together. She had to be on like a certain seat and I had to be on a certain seat because he didn't even want us like together ever. Like,
oh my god,
it wasn't even like just sleeping together. It was just, it pissed him off that we were so close and we had each other. So
why, dude? Oh my god.
Yeah, like we weren't able to like be with each other, and like he knew that we were each other's comfort and he didn't like that.
Yeah, and so I remember there was this one night, like it was super rainy and like windy and stuff, so I was like super scared. But I remember distinctly telling my sister when we got home that day, like, sis, I want to sleep with you tonight. Like I don't want to be alone. Like I don't feel comfortable. And she was like, sis, like, she was always the one who was like, just do it, like what the hell type of thing, you know, like. But I was always so scared because at the end of the day, it's her room, but I'm the one who's leaving my room that I wasn't allowed to leave to go with her. So I remember this night we like planned it and we waited for my mom and Mitch to go to sleep, and they would never come downstairs to check on us at all whatsoever. Like they would never be downstairs. It was so rare to see them downstairs. So I was like, you know what? As soon as they go to sleep, I know that if I go to your room, we'll be okay. So I remember turning my TV like on a good enough volume so that way he thought I was sleeping. And I grabbed like my blankets and stuff, and I locked my door from the inside, but I closed it, and then I went to her room and we locked her door as well. And this is just so weird to talk about too, because like you're little girls locking your doors because you're afraid of like a big fucking monster.
And
like,
not even that, but it just pisses me off how like, why the fuck did he even go downstairs?
Why?
I remember how fucking weird he was, and he gave me the ick so bad. Like, when I tell you this man made us feel so uncomfortable, he made us feel so uncomfortable.
And I remember as soon as I made it into her room, like we were just talking about a game plan of like what's gonna happen when he comes inside, or how I'm gonna sneak back into my room. I remember my sister set an alarm clock on her phone for a specific time for me to sneak back into my room so that way he didn't catch us sleeping together. I don't know why it kind of makes me so emotional to talk about that. Even, ew, what the hell?
Okay, no, because it brings back a lot of like a lot of memories, you know?
Yeah, so I remember, Karina, I did not expect to get emotional, by the way. Like, Mitch, fuck you. But also, like, I think it brings up a lot of, like, feelings and, like, emotions, because it's like, why the hell did an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old little girl have to even go through this in the first place?
And, like, fear, like, a legit monster for, like, years. And my mom was with him for 10 years, you guys, so I just want to put that out there. It never got better. It never got easier. If anything, it got worse. But at this time when we were little girls, I remember my sister like just wanting to sleep with me, and I wanted to sleep with her too, because at the end of the day, we were each other's comfort. And I remember it was like 3 a.m, you guys, 3 in the freaking morning, and there's a knock on her door. But we heard him coming downstairs, and I remember both of us kind of looking at each other being so freaking scared. And then we hear him like wiggling her door, which is so fucking disgusting and weird. Like, our mom should be checking on us. Like, what the hell is this nasty ass old creepy guy coming down to check on us when you fucking hate our guts? You know you're not checking on us to make sure we're good. But whatever. So he ends up like wiggling her door, and I remember me and her, we never were able to sleep good. We never fell into a deep sleep to where like we always got woken up. So at this time, me and my sister woke up and we were so freaking scared because we were like, holy shit, like, is that our mom? Is it him? And then we hear him
banging on the door.
But he's banging on your door and he's like, Bree, open the door. And at this time, we're awake in my room and we're like fucking scared. We're under the covers and we're like crying at this point.
But I hid. As soon as we heard him, I hid next to your bed, close to the back door.
But we were like crying and like trying to hide or whatever. And then my door was still locked. And I remember him literally coming to my door next and just pounding on the door, like screaming at us. And it was 3 a.m, you guys. Like, what the fuck are you even up looking for us for? You know what I mean?
And I remember you telling him like pretending. She pretended like he woke her up and be like, yeah. And he was like, I know she's in there. Like, I know she's in there banging on the fucking door. And Karina was like, who? Like, Bree's not in here. She literally like lied and kept lying because we thought he would just go away, but he did not go away.
Yeah, and that night was really scary. I didn't even think my mom woke up that night, huh?
I don't think she knows till this day what happened. I don't think she knows like the severity of it.
So when we talk about a lot of our like childhood memories, she has like little bits and pieces like of
because
like blurry
we tell
moments of like blurry moments that she might remember, but 90% of the time my mom doesn't know like anything we went through, and she always apologizes to us because she doesn't even know what this man put us through. I remember he was just so pissed. He ended up eventually going back to his room after yelling at us for so long. Me and my sister were not fucking cracking. We were not opening the door. We stayed in my room together. I even told her, I'm like, I'm not opening this door for anything. Like, we're gonna be fine. If he wants to break down this door, then he's gonna have to do that, but I'm not opening the door. So he ended up eventually going to his room, and like in the morning he told my mom, and he was just so pissed. And my mom was so brainwashed and just dumb at this point that she got us in trouble, and like it was a whole thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like she was in the state of mind to where like it was like her marriage and she just wanted to like make him happy in a way, but also she was like forgetting about like her kids in the process of like trying to make him happy. She was like literally like being a bad mom at the time because she would always put him first no matter what. That was scary.
It was crazy, huh?
Did it? Hey.
No, because I remember like all those like crazy ass moments. So around the same year or like the year after, I can't really remember the time frame, but I do remember this was around the time where me and you always told Dad like what was going on, and he knew that Mitch was just horrible to us and that he treated us like absolute shit.
My dad would always go above and beyond and try to make us feel like okay and comfortable, but he didn't have custody of us, so he couldn't do as much as he like wanted to.
I also do remember we didn't always tell him everything that happened. Like we would tell him to a certain extent because we were scared.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we were scared, but we were just always terrified of like, shit, at the end of the day, we have to go home to my mom and we're going to have to deal with him. So like, we didn't want to put ourselves in situations where it would have like been worse, but we were just young and dumb.
Yeah, and at this time, we weren't allowed to have phones. And I remember Mitch distinctively like cut out all contact with my dad. And he made my mom not let us like talk to him or even see him on some weekends. It would be so hard for us to leave the house. And like, I feel like he just wanted control over like our lives and wanted to like make our lives literally like hell. Miserable. And I remember there was one weekend where we were finally able to see my dad, and he gave us a flip phone to be able to call him whenever we needed him, because he knew
that my mom wasn't gonna answer. He knew that my mom wasn't gonna let us talk to our dad.
Because he tried. My dad always tried, no matter what, no matter when we needed him, he was always there. But my mom didn't let him be there because of Mitch. And because of the things that she was going through at the time. But I remember he gave us this phone and he told us, he said, do not let them know that you have this phone.
You're gonna call us after. You're gonna call me after school every day to see how you were,
to make sure you're okay, and you're gonna call me every night before bed to tell me good night, and you're gonna call me in the morning to tell me good morning,
like before you go to school.
Yeah, just to make sure that we were okay.
What was so crazy too is that at this point my dad was already trying to fight for custody for us. Yeah. Just to keep that in mind. My dad obviously knew everything that was going on, but legally he couldn't just pick us up and take us because he didn't have custody of us. So my dad was in the process already for years of trying to get custody. So in the process of doing that, he was being smart. And he obviously bought us the phone to where he can try to contact us, but try to do things like low key, to where he knew that like we were all gonna be good.
So I remember they figured out that we had the phone because me and my sister got in trouble and we got sent to our rooms.
The phone was in my backpack, and like I said, my dad would always call us like right after school, or we would call him. And at this point, they didn't get home until like a few hours after we did, but that day we were home and we were in trouble. Of course, he got home early that day and he got us in trouble for something stupid. And my backpack was like downstairs, and he ended up hearing the phone ring. So that's when he was like, what the hell, like your mom's not here, like who has a phone? So he kind of went crazy looking for it. He finally found it. And when I tell you, like, my mom was so brainwashed and just dumb by this man. It was a really like horrible, fucked up day for us, because not only were we not able to talk to our dad, but he broke the phone.
Yeah.
He ended up breaking the phone. He told us that we were not allowed to talk to our dad. We were not allowed to have like communication when we were over there with our dad. And I remember him being like at our doorstep with my mom, just yelling at us, like making us feel like we were the worst kids ever. Like we were so fucking horrible
for trying to talk to my dad and having communication with him.
Yeah, and like it was just horrible. He even had my mom yelling at us at the doorstep. Like it was just really, really crazy.
I remember that specific time that we got in trouble for talking to my dad and having the phone. He got super mad, and like she said, he was screaming at us at the door. But there was something he said that specific day that kind of like, he tried to find anything to hurt us. And he was basically like telling us that we weren't going to see our dad again, and that we're not even, what the fuck did he say? He said something about my grandparents.
Okay, so my dad's dad, our grandpa, is adopted, if I'm not mistaken.
His parent, one of our ancestors is adopted. One of our ancestors.
I want to say it was my dad's dad. If not, it was like somewhere along those lines, is adopted. So he ended up throwing that in our face and was like, that's why you guys aren't even real Solices. Like, that shouldn't even be your family. And like, he's just putting it like this whole crazy thing. I'm like, last time I checked, my mom and my dad did the and had us. Like, that's our family. But okay. He was just trying to like traumatize us and like hurt us so bad. Like, he was just going on. But that man was on a whole different level of crazy. And I just remember us being so upset because he broke the phone.
So when my dad found out that he had broken our phone and we didn't have no line of communication with him, he obviously was calling us. We weren't answering. The phone was literally broken. I remember he got enraged too, and he was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why can I not speak with my daughters? Why are you guys not allowing this? And I remember at that point, he tried everything he could to get us out of that house, like absolutely everything he could. But Mitch had a connect with the police department, so my dad didn't really have a chance to get full custody of us, because Mitch would always just make it really hard.
Yeah, so I want to say it was her birthday, but we shared a room at this time, so we had like our own little secret spots and like little hiding spots. I remember on her birthday, she got $92, and I will always remember this because as a little kid, especially when you're like 8 years old, like $92 is a lot. Like, it's a lot of money, especially back then.
You feel rich.
We felt rich, okay?
And it was our money.
And
like, we always shared everything. Like, when she got birthday money, we would always put it in a specific stash. Yeah. I don't know if we were planning to, like,
I don't know.
We had a bus ride and, like, go to dad's. But, like, we always had, like, a secret hiding spot of our money.
Yeah, and it was the craziest thing ever, you guys, because she got $92 and we were so excited. So we ended up hiding it. And tell me why the next day our money was gone. Mm-hmm. And we already know who the fuck it was.
Mitch snitch, bitch.
He was just so weird, you guys, since he was like, oh, I'm the dad. This is my house, my rules. Like, he was very, like, territorial and just narcissist vibes, okay? If I can describe a narcissist, it's him to the T. And since we were technically my mom's daughters living in his house and he's paying the rent and, you know, working and doing all this stuff, we didn't have privacy in our room. He was able to go in there at all times. He didn't let us, like, I don't know, he just didn't like when we had like certain like little things, and our little hiding spots of like money and stuff he would always find. And that time he happened to find it and he literally stole our money. And my mom didn't say nothing. Like, she was just like, oh, your money's gone.
Oh, but you hid it in the back of your closet in a drawer with the shoe on top. Like, girl, come on.
Yeah, it was just very like, violation vibes, huh?
Yeah.
Like we had no privacy.
Between the story that we're about to tell you guys, a lot of stuff happened, minor stuff, not full like on story time vibes, but I remember distinctively like me being sick sometimes at school and like my mom not answering, Mitch not answering. I remember my dad having to leave work. This man was working so freaking much at the time. He had to leave work to go pick me up from school and take me all the way to his house. My mom didn't answer. They called her. And keep in mind, guys, they were off this day. And that's why the school was calling them and calling them and calling them. And they were just not answering. And I was like 105 fever vibes at the school. So as soon as my dad heard that, he like jumped up and left work to go get me from school. And I remember he picked me up at like 1 o'clock. And my mom didn't call him saying like, where's my daughter vibes until like way after I was off of school already, like 4 p.m. And at this point, I was like, I don't want to go with her. I don't want to be around them, especially while I'm feeling like shit. And we also picked up Karina. We both ended up being at my dad's house that night. And Mitch came with my mom at like 7 o'clock at night with one of his cop friends. And we were crying in my dad's house. Like, I do not want to go. I don't want to go. And obviously in a situation like that, when your dad doesn't have custody of you, your mom has full custody, and now the police are involved, we had to end up just going with my mom and Mitch. Scariest times, I remember like seeing my dad cry just because we were like leaving the house and like
He had no control.
He had absolutely no control over like anything that we were going through. And I was so sick that day, but like we had to go. So that's just like a little part of a story of like how much he wanted control over anything. Like, you didn't give a fuck to answer your phone when I was 105 shivering, chills, fever at school. My mom didn't either.
They just found any little excuse on like to make our lives harder. And,
it was like
us
we were
not
their
be with our dad.
territory.
Yeah.
And they didn't want that fucked with. But then they also treated us like garbage.
They wanted us in the room, like on some prisoner vibes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, do you remember freaking when we were going to, I think it was for like Super Bowl or something, we were going to mom's brother's house. So he had a little truck. It was like a Chevy S10, and whoever knows, like these fucking trucks are tiny. Like the back seat,
they have 4 seats, but the back seats are like,
okay, so this is the driver's seat. I'm the driver's seat.
I'm the passenger.
Behind the driver's seat, the chair is sideways and your butt literally fits on a little square this small.
But you're squished.
Like, the window's right here and the back of the seat is right here. And as little girls, you're even more squished. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way an adult could fit back there. Like, it's tiny.
Yeah.
So I remember he had that truck, and pretty sure he fucking loved it because we were squished back there, and he put his seat all the way back to
I
squish
was just about to say that. Like, I remember we would always talk about, like, I don't want to sit behind him because we would literally be like this, like his big, long monster ass.
But I remember we were going to my mom's brother's house for, like, Super Bowl, or it was, like, some event. And me and my sister, we loved straightening our hair and, like, just doing our hair, you know? Mm-hmm. So that day, I remember I took, like, 2 hours on doing my hair, remember? And we were in the backyard, and mind you guys, there was no fucking pool. There was no water bottle. I mean, what are they called? Water balloons. There was no, like, none of that shit, okay? And he thought it was, like, a brilliant idea because I was telling my mom, like, oh, Mom, look at my hair. Like, I was feeling so cute and feeling so, like, you know, I'm a little girl, like, just loving my hair because I got to straighten it. This man literally turned on my uncle's water hose in the backyard and wet me straight on, and was like, you're a little girl, why do you need your hair done? And like, we're just talking shit, but he was trying to make it a joke to
and
try to laugh
everybody
about
was
it.
really fucking confused. Like, everybody, I remember my uncle, like,
he was like, why the fuck did he just do that?
Yeah, like, everyone looked at him like he was fucking stupid. He was trying to make a cool, funny joke, but like, bitch, that was not funny.
Yeah, and at this point, like, I was crying because when you're a little girl and that's something something like that happens to you, you just like feel like absolute shit. Not only did he embarrass me, but he fucked up my hair for one.
Yeah.
And it was just so like, to think back that he would just do little things like that just to make himself feel better, just to make himself feel like, okay, this bitch don't got her hair done, like I'm about to wet it and wet her whole outfit to where she can be crying in front of everybody. And that's exactly what he did, you guys. I remember my mom fighting with him that day and being like, why did you do that? Like, even her brothers were like, you're gonna let him do that to your daughter?
I think my mom came more into sense when her family would see it and they would make comments about it to her and be like,
that's not okay.
That's not okay. Like, she would always really stay quiet and try to like avoid the fight with him. So that time she finally did say something and it caused the whole entire like argument and situation and awkwardness in the fucking house because
we had to leave. Remember, we left because we went home. Her and they were fighting. So they started fighting because she was like, why'd you just do that to my daughter?
And then he all stupid, like fucking wet in the back of his truck, like bad.
He thought it was the funniest thing ever, and he still kind of tried to press like the idea of it being a joke, and him trying to just laugh about it. But my mom was like not having it that day, and I think this is the time where my mom kind of started to like be a little bit more on our side a little bit. So she was like, no, let's go home. Like, you just embarrassed my daughter. Like, that's not cool. I'm over here crying at this point, and I'm soaked, you guys. I'm not just a little wet. I am soaked. I'm wearing jeans that are fucking wet. And I have to sit. Remember, he even said, he was like, Karina, sit right behind my seat. Remember, we couldn't switch?
Oh, my God, bro.
That day, you guys, he wanted me to sit right behind his seat so he could fucking squish me up against the window. And he was like, no, they can't move. And I was telling my mom, like, Mom, I'm so wet. Like, I want some space to, like, you know, have
air
back
out
here. And my mom was like, yeah, go ahead and sit behind me. Because my mom knew how small the car was. The truck was, and he was like, no, she needs to sit right here.
And I remember at that time too, since they were arguing, and anytime he was in a bad mood, he wouldn't let us look at each other in the car. The seats were literally facing each other, and he would be like, Bree, look this way, and Karina, look this way, and wouldn't let us talk to each other, wouldn't let us look at each other. So like, it was just like,
he would try to be more of a parent than like my mom ever was. Like,
yeah,
he had to have the control in the house like to the max, and it was just so unhealthy and so disgusting. But yeah, I ended up going home so upset. They were fighting. It was like a whole deal. It was just so scandalous for that. Like, who does that to a poor little... Yeah, her battery died, so we had to switch that. But I want to say a couple months we moved out. Remember how much he fucking hated our guts? I think my brother was like 5 years old at this time.
But it was like an everyday thing that he would like try to make our lives horrible at this time. He wasn't even trying to hide it, but my mom was too high to even fucking realize what was going on. But things just progressed and got worse and worse over the years. Nothing got better. We're just gonna go into like the later years that we experienced with him.
One time, you guys, my little brother at this time, he was a fucking brat. Like, he was spoiled. My mom had this kid, like, he had like anger issues type of thing. He would throw like the remote at the TV and shatter the TV, break it, and he would get a new one that same day because he was like a mama's boy and so freaking spoiled. But they knew that he was so bad.
But he was learning all of this from his dad. Like, his dad was the type of person to be violent. He was the type of person to punch something. He was the type of person to break shit. So my little brother, like, he only reacted this way and he only acted this way because that's all he knew. That's all he would see from the only father figure he had at the time.
Yeah, so he was just so bad, you guys, and like she just said, it was because of his dad, and they allowed it. And my mom just was like, oh, that's my only son, like that's my baby, you know. Like, she always defended him and always gave him what he wanted. He would break a TV and get it replaced that same freaking day. And it was just to the point where me and my sister was down here, girl. My brother being like so spoiled in the house, and we always took care of him. Like, we were never mean to him. Don't like have this idea of like us being,
we always loved both of our younger siblings.
Yeah, we were really close to them because obviously he was like 5 and my little sister was like 3, and they were the cutest, like funniest things ever. My brother was so fucking bad. And one day we were in my room, so we were in my room on my bed, and we were eating Roberto's that day. The big ass cups of horchata, I had that in my room. Okay, so I didn't want him to go in there, and then finally his dad was like, you need to let him in there, like whatever. So I let my brother in there, and he always just wanted to come in to fuck shit up. Like, he wanted to go in there to fuck with us, fuck with all my stuff. Like, he was never in there just to chill. And I knew that. Everybody knew that. So when he went in my room, he was pissed at this point. He was fucking mad that I didn't let him in the room. He was mad that he was staying at the door for fucking the 5 minutes that he was banging on my door. And I remember, like, I finally let him in because I got in trouble. And this kid is pissed. Like, he's so mad. So the first thing he sees is my fucking horchata. And he grabbed my horchata and spilled it all over my bed. Like, I'm not just talking about like, oops. Like, he grabbed it and dumped it on my bed. And he's 5 at this point. Like, he knows what he's doing. And he knew that he was going to get away with anything that he fucking did. So I remember being so upset because I was like, Mom, what the fuck? Like, he really just spilled this whole big ass cup of horchata on my bed. And there was no like mattress covers. Like back then, we didn't have mattress covers on our bed.
And I remember like a week prior to that, she had just got her like new comforter, new everything. My mom hooked up her room. Yeah. So that even made her more mad, the fact that he just went in there and like fucked it up so badly.
Yeah, and I kicked him out after that. And when I kicked him out, you guys, all hell in the house broke loose. And his dad was not happy, you guys. Like, I remember he was banging on my door because I locked it. Obviously, I got scared. As soon as I kicked him out, I already knew what the consequences were. And his dad was banging on my door. And I remember my mom too, like, she was getting me in trouble and she was like, you need to let your brother in there. Like, she didn't
know the full story. She didn't know the full story at the time of like why
I kicked him out.
He kicked him out or why nothing. He didn't even know the full story, but he was just the type of person that didn't even want to hear you out, but he's going to get you in trouble either way.
Yeah, so they ended up getting me like in so much trouble to the point where like he pretty much was telling me like, if this is how you're going to be with your brother, then you need to move out. And like I remember him getting like my dad involved in everything.
Another incident that happened in that same house like the next week, me and my sister were doing our hair in the bathroom. And like she was saying, my little brother always wanted to be all up in our business. He always wanted to be there. Like, boy, get the hell out and go play your fucking game. So I remember we were in the bathroom doing our hair and we were just getting ready. And my little brother comes in and he's obviously old enough to talk. And we're like, do not touch this, the curling iron. We told him, do not touch this. It's hot. Like, don't touch it. And I remember we walk out of the bathroom to go in her room for something. I think we were changing, but we left the curling iron on so we could touch up our hair on the way out of the house. My little brother, being the little dumbass that he was, he touched it and all we hear is him screaming bloody murder. And I remember we all run into like the bathroom, and then Mitch ends up running right after. He's like, what did you guys do to my son? Like, so, was that too extra? No. With the walking camera.
No, that was literally how he was. If anything, you're missing a little oomph. A little. He was so crazy. He literally always attacked us. Like, you don't even know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, he literally, and we were like, and at this point too, we were over his fucking shit. Like, we had our dad involved. We knew everything, and we knew that we were gonna get out pretty soon. So we literally looked at him. We were like, your dumbass son touched the curling iron. Like, and what? So we ended up telling him that, and like he was like, well, you guys, why did you guys leave it on? And I'm like, why is he in the bathroom? Like, he could be in his freaking own room. And I remember like we obviously like still felt bad for my little brother, so we ended up,
didn't he have his own room and we shared?
Yes. He had his own room at 5 years old, bro.
So like we mentioned, this was years later. So we were already about to move out to
we were living with them at a different house.
Yeah, we were already about to move with our dad, and we were like sharing a room in this house, and like it was just us. So it was pretty much us against him all the freaking time.
Yeah, and so I remember we tried to make my little brother feel better. Like, we put onion and like mustard on his burn, and we ended up making him feel good. But we still got in trouble for it. Like, it was still something that my mom scolded us about, and we're like, you guys need to unplug this and that. And I'm like, girl, well, you need to get a divorce
and don't fucking get
why
so
am I
high.
watching your son?
Watch your son and stay off the drugs. This your kid, not mine.
Oh my god.
No, but I think at that point we were like grown and just like ready to get out of there. I think
like, talk to me crazy, I'm gonna talk to you back. Because I remember my dad used to always tell us at that point, like, don't be scared. If he's gonna tell you and talk to you and scream at you, scream at him back. He was like, and then call me.
Because we went years with trying to respect him and stay on the low and be all timid and whatever, but we were grown already. I think we were already teenagers, right?
Yeah,
like we were grown as fuck. And I think after a while we ended up just like getting out of there, and then my mom ended up leaving him, and it was a whole crazy way, the way that they ended up splitting up, and it was just so toxic. But I'm so happy that my mom finally left. I think for a while, like a couple months after she left, it was still really crazy because my mom lived with her mom at the time, and we lived with dad, right?
Yeah.
So the first couple months that my mom had left, she was like at the lowest point of her life, you guys. This is right before she turned her whole life around, right before she got her shit together. But right before her life started to really go up for her. And my mom had to hit rock bottom. Of course, she was living with my grandma. And he showed up at the house one time.
For something. But we were having like a family gathering. Or like,
we were there. We were all there.
Everyone was there. Like my aunts were there. My sister Cynthia was there. And Cynthia was never around at that point. So we were having like something at the house that specific day. And he ended up showing up.
Acting crazy. And you know what? He never wanted his fucking kids. He never showed up for his kids. He always showed up to cause a scene. He always showed up. Shit. Yeah, he always showed up for the drama. He showed up for all the wrong reasons all the time. But I remember this time, my sister was already grown and out of the house. And we were already grown. Like, we were tired of this shit. He was pregnant.
Cynthia was pregnant.
So my sister was pregnant. She was 21. I was like 15 at the time. She was 13. Mm-hmm. And we were just moving on with our life, okay? This was where like that chapter was finally starting to close for us. And I remember he showed up, you guys, that day. And he was just on some crazy shit. Like, he was still on drugs. He was still hard on them drugs at that. And he was just so fucked up in his head.
And all of my mom's family knew how crazy he was at this point. So we were all on edge when he showed up to my grandma's house.
Yeah, like there was no secret. There was no hiding. Like there was no like, oh my God, that's how you guys are treated at home. Like no, everybody knew how he was. And his true colors started to finally show. And I remember when he showed up, he was just acting so crazy, you guys.
It was you, Lucy, and
Cynthia.
We
were on the sidewalk. We weren't in the street, but we were on the sidewalk. And then he was like, my mom was obviously outside. So we went out there to follow my mom. We didn't go out there for problems. We didn't go out there to like start anything. But we went out there to protect and make sure my mom was good because we knew how crazy like that situation and just them together was.
Yeah.
So I remember we went out there with my mom and she was telling him like, you need to leave. Because at this point, my grandma was telling my mom like, get this man out of here. My grandpa was telling him, get this man out of here. And it was only going to escalate like if he didn't leave. So my mom was over there trying to get him to leave. And I just remember him talking so much shit and him saying like, that's why your daughter's a whore because she's pregnant, remember? Mm-hmm. And it's the craziest thing ever. You know what? Because my sister was 21 and pregnant, okay? The whore that she is, right? And I remember my sister freaking yelling at him and was like, Elias, I'm not on fucking crack like your nieces. Because they're like the same age. They were both 21. And she's like, at least I'm not on drugs.
Like, you want her to be a crack whore or just a whore? Pick and choose your battles.
No, but he got so pissed that my sister said that because, come on, you're not about to come to my family's house and disrespect all of us.
Yeah.
And he got so pissed that she said that. And he put his car in fucking reverse and fucking slammed on the gas. Grandma's gate was right here, right? We're like right in front of her gate. And then mom was like telling him to leave and he's like screaming and she's like, you need to go. So we were like a step or two inside the street, like not very far. Mm-hmm. But he was already like about to leave. And then we're like, okay, he's leaving. He puts his shit in reverse and Cynthia's like, fucking move. Like, or mom, somebody yelled. I think it might have been Lucy.
Uh-huh.
But like somebody yelled to like fucking move. And I remember he put his shit in reverse and slammed on the gas and he literally almost ran me and Cynthia over. But I remember calling my dad that day and my dad was so pissed because he was like, ooh, like my dad always wanted to whoop his ass and like he was always scared though. Every time my dad like would tell him, meet me over here, like pull up or whatever, like that man was such a coward that he never showed up. Ever.
But I think that was one of the last incidents that is like super big that we do remember because everyone was involved. That was like the last crazy fiasco that he was like a part of.
I'm just so happy he's not even a part of like my brother and sister's life.
Yeah. So now like we don't speak with him. We don't even have contact with him. My little brother and sister are now 14 and 16 and they don't have any contact with him. A year or two after that last incident that happened, my mom actually ended up meeting my my stepdad now. He's the most amazing dad, husband, grandpa, partner we could have ever asked for to like be a part of our family. And he is probably the best thing that has ever happened to my mom and my little brother and sister. He actually raised them from that point till now. So he's been in our lives for almost 10 years at this point. So Pops, we do love you. We appreciate you for just being here, not being crazy and a monster.
For being calm and loving and protective of all of us and literally just being a really good dad. Even though you didn't give like life to any of us, you definitely love us so freaking much and all the kids, and we love and appreciate you guys.
And it never goes unnoticed, like, ever. Like, he will jump up for us no matter what we need and no matter where we are in life. Like, I know he will always be there. So yeah, we really love you, Pops. We appreciate you, and we're really happy that you are part of our lives.
And what's so crazy, you guys, is my brother, he used to be really crazy and just full of anger, and now my brother is the most calmest like soul till this day that I know. Besides like Eli, you know, he's so fucking calm and just like
so chill.
He's like very respectable. Like, he respects everybody. He never like goes out of line. He knows his boundaries. Like, he was raised by such an amazing man. Pop, shout out to you. You did really good in like keeping that boy in check, because the route that he was going before, he definitely wouldn't be this person that he is today. But now, thank God for him, because he definitely raised my brother to be like a really good man. And honestly, it's thanks to him, because he's very calm himself.
Yeah, I think so too. Not that I think so too.
Any viewer.
And I think also, like, on my little sister's side, she's thriving, girl. She's thriving.
Came to terms.
She's came to terms with how her sperm donor is at this point. It was really hard to talk about everything before, even off camera, because she was always like in the mindset of like, that's my dad. But I feel like now he doesn't reach out.
They don't really have contact.
He doesn't have contact with none of them, vice versa. Like, we do not talk. And my little sister, like, now she expresses herself however she wants to feel. She dresses how she wants to dress. She is like Mexican as fuck, and I know that motherfucker hates it.
You know what? She would not be able to do that if that was her dad.
That's what I'm saying, because I know the person that she is now, she would not be able to express herself if Mitch was her dad.
Yeah. You know what? I'm so happy to say that he has zero control or say in not only our lives, because this doesn't matter anymore, but my brother and sister are safe and they don't have to deal with that. And it's just really good to know that even though he made them, he has no rights to them, and it feels so motherfucking good as their older sister, because they don't have to deal with, you know, 5% of the shit that me and my sister dealt with, even though that's their like biological dad.
Yeah, you know? And Pops, we look at him as like, that's their dad. Yeah. That's like Pops. That's like, he has his own place in each one of our hearts. And I know that as she was saying, like, I'm happy that Mitch has no control over absolutely anything that goes on with my brother and sister, and Pops has all control over absolutely anything. So
period.
But yeah, guys, we did go through a lot during our childhood with Mitch, like a lot. So if you guys do want a part 2, please let us know down in the comments. We have a lot of more crazy freaking stories of just like things that we went through with even his kids, dealing with them, living with them,
just the drama,
much
girl.
Crazy stuff. But yeah, we really hope you guys did enjoy it, like we did say in the beginning. If you guys have any recommendations of things you want to see from us, want us to talk about in our sister series, just let us know down below. Make sure you guys do follow her on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Do it all, girl. Don't be fake.
It's been like 5 or 6 days. You guys are gonna see this episode on Saturday, which I have not posted this whole week. So y'all, if you guys are missing me or whatever, I'm definitely gonna be getting back on my shit, but I haven't posted this whole week. So next week's episode is gonna be even juicier and better. But definitely let us know what you guys want to see, because we have a lot of stuff to talk about, girl. And
we've been through a lot. Like, I keep saying that, and I'm gonna keep emphasizing it every freaking episode, because the amount of stories that we have, I feel like people don't even experience in a lifetime of being like 50 years old. So
even my sister didn't experience nothing with us.
No, and I know a lot of our family, or like my sisters, like they don't even know the in-depths of what we dealt with as children, living with my mom and living with Mitch and doing all of that whole thing. Like, we went through a lot, and we went through it together.
Love you so hard.
Love ya. Guys, that's gonna be the end of our sister series. We hope you guys did enjoy episode 2, and we will catch you guys on Friday.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good? Yeah. That's gonna be a lot of editing, so good luck. Good job, sissy. It's good working with you.
I think that was a good video.
Yeah, that was really good. Honestly, I'm so glad I came up with the idea.
Okay.
I'm cute.
Okay, guys. she's finally gone.